27 players for 21 spots, 6 months, the journey to the Olympic Games, trying to win the 4th gold medal in a row. In those 6 months, there were some significant things that happened to our team. There were 3 things that changed the course, I think, and altered the course of our trajectory. The first thing was that we played 60 games in those 6 months, which is a busier schedule than most NHL schedules. We were like planes, trains, and automobiles all over the place. And in those 60 games, we lost 40 of them, which was the most losing season that I had ever been a part of in my 20 years on the national team by this point. We literally could not find ways to win games. At one point in time, we had 17 of 27 players who were injured, braced, or taped in some fashion. I was one of them. I was playing on a badly broken foot that I was trying to just get through the Olympics on so that I could get surgery. And then, 3 months before the Olympics, they fired our head coach. Now, if you've been paying attention to the NHL lately, you'll know that people are hired to be fired. My time is going to come at some point, I'm sure. But it doesn't usually happen in women's elite sport like that. It's kind of a rare thing. And so here we were 3 months before the Olympics. We kind of were losing, we'd fallen apart, and our head coach was gone. What were we going to do? We went from a team of veteran players, know how to win, to a team that kind of lost its confidence. And so fortunately for us, a guy by the name of Kevin Dineen was freshly fired from coaching the Florida Panthers in the NHL, and he was looking for a job. So he called Bob Nicholson right over here, who was the president of Hockey Canada at the time, and said, would you guys have the men's worlds or the world juniors? I want to resurrect my coaching career. And they said, no, we don't have any of those available, but how about the women's national team? Now, to be honest, most NHL coaches would say coaching the women's national team would be a terrible thing for their career, would be a demotion. But to Kevin's credit and to our benefit, he said yes. And I'll never forget the day when he walked into our dressing room and he walked around the room in a nice suit and tie. He shook every player's hand. We actually had to tape our names on our helmets like little Timbits for, for the first 2 weeks of practice, because he was kind of like, hey, you. He only knew a few people's name, which was a good thing. And he addressed our team, and he said 2 things. The first thing he said was, I want what you all have, which is an Olympic gold medal, because he had played for the men's team in 1980, and the men's team didn't do anything in those Olympics. And then he said, I have 2 daughters. One's a hockey player, and one's a soccer player. And to me, an athlete's an athlete, and a hockey player is a hockey player. So if you play well for me, you're going to play a lot. And if you don't, you probably won't. So don't complain about it. And Kevin's style of leadership was very direct. It was very black and white. There was no games. He didn't know anyone. He took the 20-year veteran and the first-year rookie, put us all back to ground zero and said, earn your spot on this team again. And it was a very healthy thing for our team moving forward. It completely changed the trajectory of our team. And along the way with Kevin as a leadership group, what we spent a little bit of time talking about were sort of 3 different areas. The first thing we talked about was roles. And when I was in that emergency department on my very first day of medical school, everything that I have learned in sport served me very well on that day, because I know how to play my role. All I knew, I had to compose myself and just do my little job in that moment. It's no different on a hockey team. We talked about, regardless of your role, blossom where you're planted. Just do your job. Because you cannot win an Olympic Games, a Stanley Cup, a major competition like that with 4 or 5 players. You need every single player on that team, because you do not know which moment is the defining moment or how many moments you need to make the outcome what you want. So regardless of your role, blossom where you're planted. And then we talked about leadership. And many of you in this room will know that as leaders yourselves, that in leadership sometimes you have to grab people by the throat and you have to drag them along and just show them the way, which is kind of how I feel as a resident in medicine. Every day someone is dragging me along, showing me the way, teaching me how to intubate, how to do a chest tube. Like, there's no other way to learn these things than somebody showing you. But then there's also the flip side to that good leadership sometimes is stepping back and allowing others to step up, because they're ready for it, they're better than you are, or that's just what's needed in the moment. And the good teams have the ability to have this ebb and flow, I really believe, where they can lead from the front, and you can turn around and lead from behind, especially in a large team like a hockey team. So we talked a little bit about that. And then the last thing we talked about was energy. And I really have noticed in these last several years, especially when I work in the clinic, a lot of patients that will come in and say, I just have no energy. You know, I just can't get myself back to where I was before the pandemic. And it's a very common thing. And life is all about energy. And we can choose on any given day if we want to be an energy giver or an energy taker. And now it's physically impossible to always be an energy giver every single day, but for us on our team going into a short-term event like the Olympic Games, we decided as a group that if we were going to win that gold medal, we needed every player, every moment we were together to be an energy giver. That if you were crusty, you were mad about something, you were not feeling well, you needed to go away, find your space and your time, come back to the group when you could be an energy giver. And that's what it was going to take for us to win. And so by the time we walked into those opening ceremonies and then stepped on the ice for that gold medal game, we went from a team that was fragile, had lost confidence, had physically, literally fallen apart, to a team that really believed in a one-game winner-take-all, that we could do it.